shake it up. Shaking up the garbage we feed on. Shaking up our wondrous being. Let's begin to rip off. Even if just for a moment, to share the cloying and the suffocating skin. Let's shake it up right now. Let's shake it up right now. Let's shake it up right now. Shake it up. Sometimes the Creative Shake-Up podcast goes out there in the sense that in the massive social media, I happen to come across various people, as we all do, and occasionally I will message, reach out to somebody, maybe people around them. And I did that with a certain person, Libby-May, and sent a message, listened to a couple of songs that were in Instagram, and consequently found out, amazingly, Libby is 14 years old, and she agreed to do a podcast. She's in the process of writing. This will unravel more throughout the interview that we share together. But it's an interesting place to be at times. And what I mean by that is sometimes I do an interview without even having met the person or talked face to face before. I've already recorded the interview with Libby, and I know there's more coming. That much I know. So this is a first. Artist, songwriter, musician, 14 years old, Libby-May. Join us, and there's some really, really interesting discussions. And as I know I've already said, there's more to come. So you know what to do. Subscribe, click on the notify bell. You will be notified of future videos, and we're reaching out to more individuals. Age, in terms of creativity, it's irrelevant. I remember a previous guest saying music doesn't have an age. So here we are, a variety of different people coming together in the Creative Shake-Up. Thank you, Libby, for saying yes, and look forward to future interviews as well. Join us now. There will be a brief outro, and then we're going to hear live, recorded live at Leighton Institute, Blackpool, Teal. So join us now in the interview. Comment, like, subscribe, click on the notify bell, and enjoy Libby-May. The Creative Shake-Up podcast would like to welcome Libby-May, as you're known across social media, and it's a bit of an impromptu messaging that I sent you a message. I saw some of the music you shared. I think it was in Instagram particularly, and here we are. So how are you doing? How are you doing today? I'm assuming you've had a busy day. What have you been up to?
Oh, I've been at school today. Nothing interesting's happened, but I've had I've had 5 lessons of GCSE. I've started my GCSEs. Started the day with music today, actually, working on some coursework and things. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic! So you're doing music at school. Brilliant. And of course that fits in with you and what you do, which we're going to come on to more in a moment. I think for me, Libby, one thing that's happening at the moment, if I give you a little bit of a list of some of the guests that I've had on the podcast, Lois Brooks, Tegan Hughes, Dexter. I've actually written a couple of songs with Dexter. The Mandrills, the band The Mandrills. I think some of these names are probably ringing bells for you.
Yeah, I've done gigs at the same time with quite a few of them.
Yeah. And I think it's doing for me is I had a little bit of joke with Dad Chris earlier that it's starting to make me feel very old.
Yeah.
Because do you mind sharing your age?
Yeah, I'm 14. I'm
14. Wow.
15 December.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've already started writing songs.
Yes.
And I think Lois is the same. I think Lois is still currently 14, a songwriter. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So share with us a little bit more if you can, apart from school, that type of thing you're doing at the moment. What things are you doing creatively at this present time? What's happening for you at the moment?
I'm in two bands outside of school. One of them I do via Upbeat Rock Academy, which I'm sure you've heard about,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
other one I'm doing with band Fleetwood Academy Modern Music, which is that band's very new. I've only been in it for about a month, 2 months or so. And it's not got a name yet, but I did a gig with that band last week, and we played my original song first time back in live, which was absolutely incredible.
And what was the name of the song? Say that again.
My original song is called Teal,
Ah, yes. Yep. Yeah.
and my band at Upbeat Rock Academy, we recently played the Blackpool Illumination Switch on, which was an absolutely incredible experience with all the other bands too. And then within school, I'm in two bands, and a third one's starting for the school musical.
Wow. So two bands, one without a name, and a third band is on the horizon as well.
Yeah.
And you're doing across those bands, um, is it mostly originals or a little bit of mixture of covers and originals?
To be honest, it's mainly covers. I've got a lot of songs that I am writing, but none of them are at a point where I'd like to share them quite yet.
Mm.
Apart from one. But I've got loads more ideas. I've had loads of ideas recently, and I'd like to play and write with my bandmates.
Fantastic. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I noticed which really intrigued me the name, Pursuit of Truth.
Yeah, it was it. We were trying to think of a name for ages, so there's not really much of a backstory to it. But
Okay.
I can't remember who said it. I think it was my lead guitarist Jude. He said we were all thinking of different names, and he gave us a little list, and we all said Pursuit of Truth's good. Why don't we go with that? So
Strong. That's a really yeah. No, it is. It's and necessary. And and it interested me because I thought, oh, hello, the light's just fallen over. I thought it spoke of strength, pursuit of truth. It's not a small thing, is it? Does that reflect your creativity in some ways? The name of the band, or not necessarily?
not necessarily, to be
Okay,
honest.
okay, okay. So I'm interested in when I go back to my early songwriting days, I was probably a little bit younger than yourself when I started writing lyrics, particularly. And probably around about 12, 13 when I actually started putting music to those lyrics. And whilst I don't think that's particularly an unusual thing, it's not something that everybody does. So for you to be 14 and writing, I guess the simplest question I can ask you is why? Where did that come from? What's made you want to do that?
Well, I've grown up around music all my life because my brother's a musician, my dad plays guitar, my granddad plays guitar, my uncle plays guitar, and my brother and I, when I was younger, used to write joke songs about brushing your teeth and alien cows and stuff like that. Um, and I've just always had fun messing around with music and lyrics and melody and stuff, and it's only recently that I've kind of taken a more like serious approach,
Hmm.
if you will. Um, and yeah, I've written joke songs, and only recently, it's only in the past few years or so, it's really clicked for me to be able to write properly.
Excellent. I guess, like all things, it's not practice. Practice is a little bit of a cold word, but usage, experience, and again, this is one I know you'll tell me if I'm wrong, but teal came from something that I saw that you were looking at the carpet on your bedroom floor.
Yes,
I mean,
my whole room's that color, and when I finished writing the lyrics for the floor, I just kind of read them over and went over them in my head and stared at my carpet for a bit, and I was like, I'm gonna call this teal because that's the color of my bedroom.
fantastic. It's brilliant. And that really is just within itself, as I read that, that's a testament to the art form of songwriting because you write about what's around you and what you're experiencing. And I kind of get the feeling, just from the little I've seen of you and the way you share what you create, there's this potential constant flow. You mentioned a moment ago, lots of material, lots of ideas for the bands. And I don't know why, but I get a strong feeling at your age of 14 that there is a lot of writing that you're going to do and a lot of writing that you are doing. And again, where does that come from? Where does the desire to write something that you notice and then to share that, where does that come from?
Well, I've been a writer all my life. When I was younger, I used to want to write books, and I've kind of come away from that and gone to music. So I've used that within my songwriting.
Excellent, excellent. And have you got is Teal, for example, is that released as a song yet? Are there plans for you to do that? Oh.
I would love to. I would love to release it. I'd need to. I have plans. The song isn't completely finished, to be honest. I would like to add more to it musically. It's finished lyrically, but the majority of it's done. I would like to record it eventually.
Excellent. Do you think you? I'm kind of throwing a lot of questions at you, Libby, because I'm genuinely interested, and I know those that are viewing will be as well. Do you think you will potentially be releasing some solo work and some band work?
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good answer. Good answer. And that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I know myself as a creator, I've to date released music under 5 different names over the last 4 years. And part of that is because I like different energetic ways of sharing things. So rather than being just, the one version of me, there's another version of me working with other people. And that's where a lot of the collaboration comes from currently. So that's really interesting. And it sounds like, have you got thoughts towards the book side of things as well as the music? Have you got plans in that regard?
Not necessarily anymore, to be honest. Maybe in the future, but definitely not right now, or not in the recent, not in the near future.
Yeah, yeah, and I can only imagine, and vaguely remember the school's pretty full on. When you're in the midst of exams, you've got a lot on. And you're doing everything else you're doing, yeah. So how do you balance? How do you balance that?
Well, I find a way. At school, I do schoolwork, and at home, I do homework.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I definitely try to leave time for myself as well as much as I can, because I'm not doing my exams quite yet. It's another year for that so far, so it's just learning all the information so far. So I've not had to tackle revision or anything quite yet, unless we've had tests coming up and things along those lines. But so far, I've been able to balance it.
Excellent. I think that's a good. Again, I don't particularly like the word discipline, but I think that's a good discipline for the future to compartmentalize, like you explained. You're doing schoolwork at school, homework at home, and balancing those two. And if you think if you're going to have a solo career and a band career, keeping those things separate, so to speak.
I'm not too sure where I'm going with that quite yet.
Yeah.
I'm still quite new to everything.
Yeah. And I've seen videos in Instagram where you've performed live. You play the guitar?
I do. I've played guitar for 7 or 8 years now, something like that.
Excellent. And is that the instrument you mostly use to write?
Yes, though I do prefer singing. I usually start all my songs on guitar.
Cool, lovely. Have you got any events, open mics coming up? Have you got any slots anywhere?
I've got a gig with my band Pursuit of Truth on the 27th of October at the Hard Rock Cafe. And I think I'm playing at Bootleg for a Halloween open mic one of my friends is hosting. Yeah, that's it so far, I think. More might come up, but that's what it's looking like so far.
Fantastic. What kind of cover versions do you do? What are some of the cover versions that you sing?
I play a lot of Foo Fighters songs. Probably my biggest inspiration. Not with the bands as much though. In Pursuit of Truth we do quite a variety of things, and in my other band, which doesn't have a name, we're a lot rockier, I'd say.
Excellent.
But at the same time we're not, so I don't know, it's quite hard to explain.
I think I'm not somebody who particularly encourages trying to define things as a genre. It's one of the most classic asked questions, isn't it? You know, if you're writing and if you're sharing music, and the more you do it, I would suggest you're going to get asked the question a lot from people who become aware you're a songwriter and a singer. People are going to say, you know, what does it sound like? Or who does it sound like? And people try to pigeonhole things a little bit. So I think it's really, really good to hear that you're not necessarily wanting to do that. You're allowing it to be what it is. Yeah.
My music sounds like me.
Great.
Any other way to explain it, really.
Yeah. I want to just pause there for a moment. Because I like that answer. And I think those that are listening, those that are watching, that is only because you're the age you are. I'm the age I am. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. But what a fantastic answer.
Thank you.
Well, it is. It's true. The music, it sounds like me. I think that's such a brilliant answer because it is so complicated, isn't it? Do you play pop? Do you play rock? Do you da-da-da-da-da? And all of this labeling and identifying of, is this music? It's that music. So I think it's really, really refreshing what you're sharing. My music sounds like me. Fantastic.
I think everyone's music is it should be a reflection of themselves to me, and that's what I want to put out anyway.
Do you think then within that, for what you've written so far, what would you say is your desire with sharing that music? So you're sharing the sound of you. How do you hope for that to be heard by others? What do you hope to achieve by other people hearing your music? I've got an answer to that question, but I'd like to hear what you think. Why?
I don't really know how I'm going to answer that one because I don't know. It's just let people interpret it how they want to, really.
Yeah. Do you feel there's some value beyond music itself for people to experience? Because sometimes I think people think of music as entertainment, which of course it is and can be, but do you think there's some educational, spiritual, it may be even mental health benefit, therapeutic benefit in songwriting?
There's always something else as well as entertainment
Hmm.
from that you can get from music. It's just really how the listener chooses to interpret it. This is what we've been doing this morning in music today, so I've been quite well prepped for this.
Excellent. Good, good. So how would you explain the process of writing for you? What happens?
Well, the best songs that I seem to write, I kind of use it as an outlet. If I'm feeling a certain way, I just seem to write lyrics about it because it's just like poetry really. And I always have guitar parts that I've just got lying around, nothing to do. I've got nothing to put with them. And sometimes I just pick them up and play, and suddenly I just have an idea and I write it down.
So do you find generally the two happen separately? So sometimes you write lyrics and other times you might pick the guitar up and then at times those two things come together?
Well, all the best songs I think I've written, that seems to be the
Mm,
process that
mm.
happens. But I have written some other ones where I've gone a different route, which are also I'm quite happy with.
Yeah, yeah. I feel as songwriters we're borrowers. We're borrowers. I
I, I,
definitely go on, go on.
I yeah, I sometimes you write a song and someone says, "Oh, this sounds like this," and you listen to the other song, and you're like, "Oh gosh, I've just accidentally copied a song." Yeah.
And I think energetically, we listen. You've got to be a listener to be a songwriter.
Mm.
You've got to be an observer to be a songwriter because you're looking for that stimulus of things around you. It can be your own experience, of course, in life, but it can also be yeah, some perhaps thing that you're seeing happening on the horizon, for example. You might just be witnessing something or reading something or so it's a constant process of filtering, and receiving messages and then converting those into a form that's packaged for other people. That's effectively songwriting, isn't it?
I find I listen to music every day, all day, pretty much, and I just want to make my own too that can belong somewhere with all the rest. And I don't know.
It's absolutely, absolutely. And the benefit of that is to people who hear songs. I mean, if you had feedback on Teal of people shared with you,
Yes, only positive so
good,
far.
good, that's good. What's the feedback been? What have people said?
Um, People have said it's catchy,
Mm,
um, and they like certain parts of the song because it's catchy. And the feel of the song, I've had people say they like the feel of it.
excellent. And it's a point of access, I feel, with songs. Um, courage, strength.
Mm.
I really do feel that. It's not to make it worthy or mean more, but I think what you're doing, to take an idea of something you've seen, something you've experienced, and then to share that, because when we do that, we don't know how people are going to respond. And whilst we don't have control over that, that does take an element of courage to do that. And I think stage wise as well. I think it is not to criticise cover versions, but I think generally speaking, people tend to like to hear what they know.
Yeah, I can agree with that
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
'Cause I find myself playing songs that no one really knows.
fantastic.
But it's always good when you hear someone covering songs and then the song you really like comes on and it just yeah, it's nice.
Now, you can say no to this question. Have you got any exclusive snippets of song titles that you're prepared to share that are in the process of being formed at the moment that you would be happy sharing? If the answer's no, it's not a problem. But I'm just interested to know beyond Teal, are there any song titles that, and they could even be working titles. I know myself, I have lots of songs that perhaps don't end up being called what they're called at the moment.
I tend to title my things when I've finished them, so I
Great.
haven't really got anything. I did have one song that I wrote a year ago or so, I'd say, that I found and I quite like. So I might, I think I've been, I, th- I think I've done some work on that. Not for a while, but that song's called Wait. Um,
Great.
but it's definitely still in development, and so are all the others.
Cool. And like you say, possibly plans for Teal to be a released song.
Oh, I would definitely like to release it.
Excellent. Excellent. So, what do you feel future plans are creatively for you?
Write more songs, finish songs, maybe work towards an EP or an album, and get some more gigs done, and do my exams, do school.
Excellent. In no particular order. But all very, very important. So I think what I'm going to say to you, Libby, is without putting you on the spot, would you be prepared to consider the possibility of a future podcast interview?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Excellent, because I feel there's some things that are simmering nicely.
Mm.
And I get the feeling there's writing going on. There's a couple of band projects. There's live stuff you're doing. Was it October the 27th you said for the gig date?
Yes.
Hard Rock Cafe, is that correct?
Yeah, West Coast Rock Cafe.
Say that again.
West Coast Rock
West
Cafe.
Coast, that was the one. West Coast, apologies. So West Coast Rock Cafe. We'll be sharing that all across as the video's going on as well. All of your social media platforms you're prepared to share.
Um,
So, yep, go on.
I have we've got the band account for Pursuit of Truth, which is Pursuit of Truth underscore band on Instagram. And my personal music account is libby.may.music underscore, also on Instagram.
Fantastic. So we'll make sure in the YouTube description those links are there so people can find you, find your music. And for me, that's really important because we live in a system, a business of music where lots of people get shared. The big names have got, teams behind them, teams sharing them. And I think for the rest of us, when you're a writer, and especially as your writing opens up more, as you want to get that into the public domain, it's important to have platforms like this one and others so that that can be shared. And that's why I want to just that open door for you in the future as, for example, when Teal or other songs come to release, just drop us a message, come back, and we'll make sure that we promote the song, EP, album, live performance, whatever it might be, and all the rest of it. Have a think about this. Now, I chose, and it was a fairly simplistic title for you, but just as a concluding thought, I think it's something like I chose the title, The Colours of Creativity.
Hmm.
Now, of course, that was born from Teal and my little bit of knowledge of how the song came about. But I feel there's a little bit more to it than that. And what I do is I sit with the thought of somebody and then I form a title. So if you could paint us a picture of why you think creativity is so important, and also important for perhaps people that might feel they're not very creative. Why do you think creativity is so important?
Well, I find it's really it's an outlet of yourself. It's your self-expression.
Mm.
And creativity can come in many different ways. It doesn't just have to be music or art. It can be dance or other things.
Food, cooking, it could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah. Anything that you think of yourself without someone telling you how to do it is creativity to me.
Anything that you can do without somebody telling you how to do it, that's pretty much what you just said.
Yeah.
That is genuinely, again, an incredibly powerful message. I don't know if you're aware of the actor John Cleese. Perhaps not as well known now. Certain audience members of an age group would know who John Cleese is. Now, John Cleese, comedian, writer, talks about creativity as the closest we can get, particularly as adults, to children when they play. Now, what you've just done is you've kind of put that into an even more effective bite-sized way of putting it. That the thing you can do without somebody telling you how to do it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's really, really good. That's really good. And I think that's a great parting message for those who have joined us to go away with and reflect upon, because we're all creative in different ways. And that's essentially what you're sharing as well. So, Libby, thank you so much. I know I kind of just dropped you a message. We didn't even talk before it. This is the first time we've spoken. I've thrown 20 questions at you and more, and I'm really, really grateful for your open answers. I think this is going to be amazingly beneficial to others. So share those social platforms again, just in conclusion for us, please, Libby.
My music account is libby.may.music_, and my band account is pursuitoftruth_band, and they're both on Instagram.
Looking forward to hearing more from you, Libby. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I very much enjoyed my time.
Amazing. So many gifts to share. When I pause in an interview, when I say to somebody that I've asked a question, we're just going to pause there for a moment. It's because I am processing what I've just heard. And also, I'm suggesting that could be the same for others too. And I want to share those moments to make them land more, because it's important, these thoughts and feelings that we share. And Libby shared some incredible insights from mind experience of, chronologically, 14 years of age. I really, really feel there's going to be more creativity from Libby coming. I really do. She mentioned EP, album, different bands that she's writing with. But for now, let's enjoy together a song that was recorded. I mentioned this in the intro. Leighton Institute, open mic. Amazing. It's run by Peter Raphael. Incredible photography, video from Kedem Media, Ant. And I'm grateful for individuals like those that I've mentioned, Raphael, Peter, Ant, for creating platforms, quite literally, stages, quite literally, not just for people of a teenage years, shall we say, younger years, but for the likes of people like myself who have fully discovered and realised the creative ability they have, maybe not when they're 14, 15, 16, etc. Yet still, we can offer something to the world. And that's not to make this worthy. It's important, whether that's 14, 40, 80, whatever the age. Music is about conveying messages, and many people can do it. It's not just the mainstream music that can do it. We can all do it. So let's listen to currently, maybe even at time of airing, I think Libby would be 15 at time of airing, still relatively young. Teal, recorded live. Enjoy. And you know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, click on the notify bell, and look forward to seeing you next time with the Creative Shakeup podcast.
This is called Teal. I could see